So, hello, James. Thank you very much for joining us at Fabric of Football tonight.
Absolutely, I'm delighted to be here. What an extraordinary exhibition
Thank
this
you very
is.
much.
And what an amazing collection of shirts. It's funny because you think of players, you think of matches, but often the things that really take you back to specific times is seeing some of these jerseys.
That's what I think. You see a football shirt, and even more than the photo of the match, the shirt just brings back that memory straight away.
Some good memories, some bad memories.
Exactly, yeah. But enough about shirts. I'd like to know. Obviously, growing up watching you on the telly, Football Italia. I'd like to know a bit more about you. So, what was your first shirt as a kid?
I didn't really have football shirts as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. I would think probably the first football shirt in my possession was either a Roma shirt from the early 90s or possibly an England shirt that Alan Shearer gave me.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I met Alan Shearer and he gave me this shirt. It was all like we were doing a thing with his boot sponsors, I think with Diodora at the time. So he gave me this, he gave me a shirt, I gave him a hairdo, effectively. That's the swap that we did.
I'd be more into, Alan Shearer, respect, but a Roma shirt from the early 90s sets the pulse racing a bit more. Barilla, was that the sponsor?
They were still, Barilla was still the sponsors in those days.
Okay.
The last shirt I got it's quite a sexy affair actually. It's the Newton Heath one. Not Newton Heath, sorry. It's the Dulwich Hamlet.
Dulwich Hamlet.
Yeah.
That is a collector's item.
Hopefully it doesn't become one, but
I think it will. Especially if you've got any collection. That's definitely going to be a popular item. I think Dulwich Hamlet. It's a cult classic. But did you have a hero growing up? A football hero?
Yeah. I think the people that I really got excited about tended to be once I was in Italy, or actually the couple of years when I was really following Italian football before I went out there. So people like Giannini at Roma, or obviously people like Baggio, and Mancini was a particular favourite of mine through the 90s in Serie A.
Yeah, that's that classic Samp team then.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and also when he went, later on when he was at Lazio, when he scored, I think probably my favourite goal of the 90s for Lazio against Parma. Ridiculous. Back heel off a corner.
Yeah.
A volley, he leapt up. Anyway, special.
So, Football Italia, how did that come about?
Well, there was a production company that had very little time, very little money, and I spoke Italian for a kind of series of reasons to do with meeting an Italian girl, and I knew someone at the production company. I was working at Sky as a producer at the time. And when Sky had the rights to Italian football, but when Channel 4 took it over, because Gazza was moving to Italy and everybody wanted to see what happened there, they took the rights from Sky. And I was a bit gutted because I thought I was going to be doing the Bundesliga or something at this point. So I rang up the company and said, have you got any work going? They said, well, we're looking for a reporter, presenter. So I didn't bother calling because I thought, well, I can't be one of those. And time went by, and there was kind of a week past, whatever, and I spoke to them again. They said, have you spoken to the person who's looking? I said, no. Really give them a call. So I did, and I spoke Italian. I think that was the key thing, because initially the job was, rather than being a presenter, it was kind of more to produce Paul Gascoigne, to kind of babysit him, because he was meant to be doing all the links for the Saturday morning
show. Is that why it was called...
Gazzetta.
There's a bit of, Gazzetta,
no, definitely.
But then also to Paul Gascoigne.
No, you're absolutely spot on. That's why it was called Gazzetta. And that's why the theme tune said Go Lazio, which was actually kind of a little bit Go Lazio. And that's how I got the job. And then about 3 weeks in, he didn't turn up to do his links, and so I did. And that was how that happened.
You had a lot of larking about, like at zoos
with Gazza,
and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, no, he was a very playful character.
Yeah. I've seen some of those sort of like outtakes things where you've got like Peter Brackley in a bar. Is a real strange video, but I don't.
I think that was from a Christmas party in about '93. My word, I don't know where you saw that.
Me and my brother have got quite a VHS collection to go along with the football shirts.
Wow, okay. Can you put it all up on YouTube?
One day.
Do you have Lombardo doing the Lambada?
I haven't got that one. No, but I do vaguely remember.
Yeah. Yeah, one day we'll find that.
Yeah. Back to football shirts.
Yes.
So, 1992 to 2002 was the Channel 4 years. During that time, are there any ones which stand out as being, I remember that shirt.
Yeah, I think A lot of the very famous ones, Fiorentina's shirt through most of the 90s was glorious, and still is. I think, not every team that could get away with purple, but they certainly do. I mean, whether it's the early swastika one from 92, 93, which is bonkers that got made, and they played in it for several games on Channel 4,
and
I think maybe they were in our second game ever. I think our second game might have been Lazio Fiorentina, and they would have been wearing a version of it, the away strip, which was predominantly white with the designs on it. I mean, to be fair, the design it's basically just echoing an old kind of Hindu thing. I presume, rather than necessarily being an apology for Nazism or something. Who knows? Anyway, so that one, I always loved Sampdoria's jersey. Obviously, the classic Roma kits. More recently, I think Lazio have been doing some really, really nice retro ones. There was one a couple of years ago, which harked back to their Scudetto winning shirt, which is really nice. And then the classic, and for me, the thinner the stripes, the better. The classic Milan, Inter, and Juventus, just very, very basic, very iconic, black and white, or blue and black, or red and black stripes.
So, was there a favourite match that you covered? I mean, it's hard to pull out one.
Well, it's funny. We were at a lot of really interesting matches. It just happened that with Channel 4, we were there when certain things happened. Whether it's George Weah's goal against Verona, we were there. Ronaldo's debut for Inter, which came at home at San Siro against Brescia, and they were expected to just walk all over, because the Inter team that year was ridiculous.
I mean, not 97, 98, but 98, 99, they were trying to crowbar Ronaldo, Baggio, Zamorano.
Yeah, so now that Inter team, I remember going to the Stadio Olimpico in Rome to see them play Roma, and in a ridiculous match, it was 5-4 Inter 1. And when you look at that team, I mean, it's just astonishing. Every name you come to, you think, well, but him as well. Zamorano, as you say, Roberto Baggio was in the squad, Djurkaeff.
But I mean, there's so many teams in that era. You're like, even Fiorentina sometimes finished 6th or 7th, and they've got Batistuta, Rui Costa, maybe Kanchelskis.
Well, Fiorentina were really regarded as one of, in those days they talked about the seven sisters, the 7 teams that maybe could win the title each season. And Fiorentina had one year when they were right at the top of the table, and Batistuta then got injured. I think it would have been January, because the next week was Carnival, was the whole kind of whatever it's called, Ash Wednesday. Was it Ash Wednesday? Or Shrove Tuesday, all that business. Yeah. So Carnival back in Brazil. So Batistuta's just got injured, but it doesn't matter, Fiorentina. You've got Edmundo, who obviously is a bit talented himself. Yeah. Only he had a clause in his contract saying, when Carnival comes around, I'm out of here. I'm going to get a week's holiday in the middle of the season. And the club said, but Batistuta's injured. He said, but the clause in my contract. And he just basically left them. And of course, they tumbled at that point. So
he probably headbutted somebody on the way out. He probably did. I'd imagine. But, I mean, an impossible question. Favourite Serie A player of the 90s?
Well, my favourite, I was saying Mancini before, but I think probably the one who I feel most strongly about would be Roberto Baggio, because as well as the skill, there was just something about him. There was a twinkle, a kind of enigma in those eyes, and those crinkly locks as he ran around the fields, or strolled more accurately around the fields of Serie A. And also, I think because he had such a difficult career, highs and lows, and he battled through so many things.
And he played for so many different teams during the Football Italia era as well.
Really.
The classic Brescia years towards the end, him and Hubner up front was that was great.
With Pirlo in behind.
With Pirlo, I think even Guardiola was there. For one of the seasons, which just incredible, and that was probably enough to earn them like a 12th place finish.
Well, they got into Europe actually. He got Brescia into the UEFA Cup, as it was back in those days. Yeah, showing our age now, Doug.
Yeah. Oh well, very nice talking to you. Thank you very much again for being a part of Fabric Football.
Not at all. It was really exciting, and especially because if there's one thing the Italians did well, it's classic kits, and I'm glad to see so many of them represented in this excellent exhibition.
I'll be showing you some later.
Okay.
And the Football Italia exhibition is especially for you, so I look forward to showing it to you.
Very kind.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No worries.
Right, cheers, Jim.